Today on Top Gear Rearview, Jeff has opinions on two things. The best line of dialogue from the movie Saving Silverman.
No. Best line from that movie is "Coming to yeah!"
And the quality of this episode.
That's gonna be a weird one. Hello and welcome to Top Gear Rearview. I'm Jeff, that's Brady. Tonight we're looking back at Series 4, Episode 2.
This episode aired on the 16th of May in 2004, and the star in a reasonably priced car was some named Paul McKenna.
This is kind of a dumpster fire of an episode, but we do look at the Alfa 166. For some reason, we put a nun in a monster truck, because that's like a Series 1 challenge.
We gotta fill airtime, Jeff.
we gotta hit those numbers. Take a look at the Escalade, which they can get in the UK, and bring some, casual racism to, but we'll get there. The Ford FAB-1, which, while I'm impressed it drove, I don't think it has any place in the show. And then finally, we actually get a proper power lap in a car that we've already seen, the SLR McLaren.
That's what really drilled it home to me, that this wasn't the best episode, or maybe could have been the worst episode of the series so far, is the only good part they covered like 4 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Like it was Series 3, Episode 8, Series 3, Episode 7, where Hammond reviewed the SLR McLaren. That was like 3-4 weeks ago, man. So by that time I was there, I was like, oh, thank God. Oh.
Out to get invited to the press launches and stuff, and like brought out to see him, but not enough clout to also get like the early exclusives on the in-person usage, like the test cars, the test mules and whatnot. So they have to kind of do that, because we'll see it again pretty quick here with the Ford GT. And there's a few others in here where it's like they go drive them and, have fun with them on location, and then they have to bring them back to the studio and talk more about them and try to make them into segments. So.
Yeah, okay.
It sucks, but I think it's going to be a kind of temporary thing. They're hitting their stride here. They're trying to get some proper clout.
Clout, yes.
Clout. So anyway, have you seen a first generation Alfa 166?
A first generation, what year would that be, Jeff?
1996. It looks so sad.
Does it? Oh my God. Oh, please check out the show notes. It looks so sad.
I dropped my ice cream. I don't know why Jeremy likes his car so much. I didn't think, okay, to be fair, the facelift that it got in 2003, that is the one they showed, is a much better looking car, but it's not a good looking car.
That's the face that my cat makes when I go and get his cat food out of the refrigerator, like his wet cat food that we've been storing. And I open it up and he's like, yeah! And there's like not like any in there. Like someone put in, like I put it in last time, was just a little bit. And like he looks at his bowl and he goes, oh, that's it? That's the face. Check out the show notes for that. Sorry, we're talking about the new one now.
Alfa 166, the 2003 facelift with the 3.2.
Yes, so it is an okay looking car. The Alfa's got their design philosophy with the triangle grille, and that's their thing. And okay, they're sticking to it. It's not my cup of tea, really.
No,
when they do it well, they do it extremely well.
Yeah,
but it's a hard one to pull off all the time.
It is. Like
the Aston Martin grille shape, where it's kind of like that double bump in the front, looks good all of the time. Except for in a DB7.
Stupid DB7.
And even then, it looks better than kind of the mild to best Alfa. But the triangle is such a distinct feature that I'm not a huge fan of it. That being said, this one looks okay. It's middle of the road. They've done worse. They've done sad eyes.
It's just so good.
I can see it on the Google images here. It's just so sad. But they've done way better, like with the Juliet and stuff.
Yes. So, anyway, Jeremy loves this car, but he kind of harps on it as like they depreciate like crazy. Like you lose more than half the value in a year, which means they never sold any. And he right up front asks, why isn't Alfa just not selling these in the UK anymore? Spoiler alert, 17 months after this review happens, they stop selling them in the UK. Yeah,
he says he loves this car and then lists off a bunch of reasons why all of the other cars are better than this one.
Yeah.
He just likes the soul of it. He likes the I guess he thinks it might have that X factor that he likes to talk about.
I guess.
But it's not as comfortable. It's not as fast. It's not as good of a ride. It's not as pretty as this car, the BMW 3 Series or the Mercedes, C-Class or whatever other car in this segment. It's just not as good.
No.
And it'll break down.
And you'll lose 50 pounds a day in depreciation.
It's got egregious depreciation.
Yeah.
It's got Maserati levels of depreciation.
Yeah. Yeah, it depreciates like sushi.
It does. And it's just the worst. Yes, you get polished on the outside intake headers.
Yeah, which,
Okay.
You can buy those on eBay, too. They're not much.
Yep. Or you can buy an angle grinder and actually do something else with it later on.
True. The interior was mildly interesting. I didn't know what was going on with that like infotainment system, which wasn't a thing back then, but it was just like a weird kind of almost square screen in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I was like, oh, there's something appealing about that, but all in all, I was like, it's a sedan. It looks like, I mean, yeah, you could buy your Camry, or you could buy, I guess, I don't know, like a Suzuki Kazashi, but it doesn't mean it's a good car.
Yeah, go buy a Mondeo and move on with your life.
I heard the Kazashi is actually a good car, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
The comparison was odd too, because they were showing houses in West Yorkshire that you could get for, what was it, £7,500?
Yeah, if not less.
Houses was that's an exaggeration to a degree, because it was
that's a pretty common kind of row of houses in the UK.
Yeah, but I mean, the stairs
being
were gone.
being detached is not as common in the UK as it is in the
Yeah,
United States.
no, it's more, I mean, we think of it like more like a townhouse here.
Yeah.
But the stairs were gone.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff missing, like walls and floors, and windows
Windows.
and doors.
Glass.
Walls. All of the walls. What was there was nice crispy burnt for preservation.
Yeah. Just a weird segment. I don't know what to say. Ugh.
He was in a rundown neighborhood. I guess he was talking. How did the comparison of West Yorkshire, like coal mining town?
I don't know if it was a comparison as much as like just like saying here's a part of town that like here's an industry that died and took this town with it, and here are cheap houses, and this car is expensive, but if you buy this cheap house, you can afford this car, and then you can look at it out the window, and then his wheels were stolen, and that was the end of the segment, and I don't get it.
I mean, because the real comparison you draw is, if you're not really reading into it that much, is look at how shitty this house is. Alfa 166.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the house has stopped depreciating at least.
The visual comparison you get is this car is a crack house slum in West Yorkshire.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the best comparison to make if you're trying to sell this car, Jeremy. Maybe he was being a little tongue-in-cheek, where he had to give a good review or Alfa would get mad at him. So he compared it to this in a positive light. I'm not sure. Something about this just seems weird. Though I know Jeremy loves Alfas, so maybe he was actually being genuine about his desire to like this car. But I don't know. It was a bad review.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they were just like, we got him hooked with episode 1, so we'll just dumpster fire early and then just put all the garbage in here.
Just take out the trash day.
Yeah.
Because, Jeff, let's move on. Let's finish this one and move on to our Series 1 quote-unquote challenge. Can a nun drive a monster truck?
I'm reading the monster truck fandom wiki page for Blown Thunder right now.
Blown Thunder, good name. One good thing to come out of this segment. The name of the monster truck was Blown Thunder.
Blown Thunder. Yeah. It's just there's a lot of comparisons that can be drawn, but it still is running to this day as the truck Grim Reaper.
It's a GMC, which is funny. Oh, it's Grim Reaper in the UK?
In the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Gravedigger is the big one over here.
Gravedigger's the big one, yeah. It also didn't it seem kind of small for a monster truck?
Well, I mean, it was
a monster truck.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't have the commercial backing of the gigantic American monster truck industry, Jeff.
It's true.
We love monster trucks. One of my favorite lines from any movie ever is from the movie Saving Silverman, where they've kidnapped a lady and he dresses up in a chicken costume to give her some videos to keep her occupied while she's being kidnapped and locked inside of her room. He goes, I brought you some videos. Half of them are monster trucks and half of them are porn. And he turns around to walk away and he turns back and goes, oh yeah, there's one that's both. It's my favorite line in that movie easily, but in one of my favorite lines in any comedy movie. But yeah, monster trucks are really big over here for the same reason that, professional wrestling is.
Yeah. By the way,
it's just up.
No. Best line from that movie is "Coming to yeah." But agreed. Very good line.
Go watch Saving Silverman.
It's a good movie.
This episode.
Yeah, it's longer than this episode, but better.
Yeah, better.
1,700 horsepower with that supercharger was facing backwards. I'm sure there's a reason for that.
Maybe the whole engine is mounted backwards. They didn't really ever give you a shot of the engine and the car.
True.
I think the engine might be in the truck bed of that area.
It definitely is, but
okay.
Yeah. So I know that the intake was facing backwards. I don't fully understand the reasoning, but I don't fully understand monster trucks. So
yeah. I wonder if it has to do with the fact that it kind of goes vertical sometimes. I'm not sure.
Maybe, or maybe they're never going fast enough to really use that having
the ram air.
Exactly. So I don't know. I can do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, which is not bad for 9,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot of spinning mass to turn with those tires.
Yeah.
I bet it's got a pretty beefy clutch.
I would agree.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Jeff, the segment was called "Can a Nun Drive a Monster Truck?"
Yep.
All right, on to the news. Jeff, there's not. I don't have much here.
No, we look at a Land Rover Discovery and an XC90, but it's not really a comparison. It's really like which can you put a kid's bike in, and
they're
it's
comparing
both if you break the rear window on the Discovery.
You know what? He totally could have closed that window.
I know. He could have turned that about 45, and it would have been done.
I think he could have closed just as was, but as is.
As is was.
Was as. So yeah, they're comparison because it's the new Land Rover Discovery,
True.
not the
former.
Kind of it's kind of a smaller body than what you kind of picture from an old Land Rover Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
But it's essentially the same model they have these days.
Yeah, it has not really changed much. I thought that was the LR3, or it had some other name to it.
Maybe over here in the States it did.
Yeah. Yep. That was that comparison.
Yeah, Jeremy says that it's not as good as an XC90 because of that reason, and both Hammond and May disagreed.
It is the Discovery 3. It is the LR3. Damn it, I got it right. I know my Land Rovers too well.
You do. For someone who don't have one.
Don't want one, except for a Defender, but different story.
And then they talk about the new Golf GTI. Mm-hmm. This is the Mark 5?
Yep, that'll be a 5.
And it's interesting, they're kind of down on it right away. I'm sure whenever the review comes out, they'll love it, because they always do.
Yep.
But it's not as light and not as powerful as they want it to be. It's less powerful than the Focus RS and the whatever other car they talked about. Was it the Citroen? Hot Citroen?
I don't even know.
Renault Megane 255 or something like that.
Something like that. I was a little tuned out because I was bored with the Land Rover, but
and then they say it's not as heavy. It's heavier than the RS, but I guess not than the Megane. But it's kind of in the middle of the road. I guess it's probably still going to be a good car when they review it. They're going to like it, but they just like to rag on it in the news.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
That's all I got too. That was a weird news. It wasn't even like introduced as the news. It was just kind of this odd rumbling in there.
He just kind of ambled in, and the other guys are sitting down already.
It was like, it's time for Conversation Street.
I said it last week about how sometimes I feel like the American edit or just the post edit is a little weird. Mm-hmm. This episode is all over the place, and I think there's a lot of stuff cut for either time or for whatever copyright reason or whatever. So I think maybe we're missing out on some stuff.
I think we must have been. I mean, the overall time was not that different from normal episodes, but yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they have more leniency over there with that like extended, I don't know. Anyway, weird.
Yeah, it was a bit weird editing there, and we'll get some more of that later on. But first, Jeff, let's get a little racist.
Just a little.
I mean, not egregiously, but
no.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what?
Maybe in 2018, I'm like, that's not how I would have worded that.
Yeah.
That's not how I would have said that on television.
Yeah, agreed. So this is the Escalade. that they're.
Why are they reviewing a Cadillac Escalade?
I don't know. And why more like?
Is it available in the UK? I guess you can buy it in the UK,
You
right?
can, because they said they could. But the thing that I didn't understand is like why they don't typically review cars that have been like that are not pretty stock. And they had that one of their things they were talking about was the wheels, which are Loanhearts, which are not stocks.
No.
So I don't get it. Like I don't get it.
So yeah, they review a Cadillac Escalade,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Basically saying it makes you look cool, and it's a way to put all your money on display.
yes. They get resident black person to come in.
He's a bling consultant, which I don't.
He is a comedian and bling consultant.
Is he actually a comedian?
They said comedian, yes.
Oh God, I hope so. Okay, then I hope this was 100% just in jest.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, they're trying to explain why the Escalade is got such a cultural prominence here in the United States.
Yeah.
Essentially, is what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
because the Escalade it carries with it an air of elegance. Maybe I'll say it's kind of a cream of the crop in terms of SUVs over here.
it's one of the only.
Over there,
Yeah,
it might be like the Range Rover Sport, maybe. Over here in the States, the Escalade is kind of like the nicest big SUV until the Porsche Cayenne comes along.
and yeah, I thought the interesting thing about the Escalade to me is it's like one of the only SUVs that people ever like do like face-off scenarios with, like take the grill and face off their car and put on an Escalade face. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would do that, but people do that.
They used to do that a lot with Camaro faces, didn't they?
Maybe.
Like get your Fiat or your Fiero and throw a Camaro front end on it.
Oh, that'd be just weird. But yeah, it's apparently 28,000 pounds in the U.S. That's the translation at the time. But with everything, when it gets to the U.K., that bumps up to 50, which that's just so much money.
That's expensive. I mean, that's Range Rover expensive.
Yeah.
For essentially leather and chrome Tahoe. I mean, they had the shortened version, Jeff.
They did.
It was the Tahoe or Yukon length Escalade. It was not the suburban length Escalade, which was, what would we say, 2 feet longer?
Yeah, the ESV is a full 20 feet long.
It's 20 feet long, which is, I mean, an Escalade is too big for the UK anyway, because it's huge and American, but add 2 feet to that and it just becomes stupid.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's longer than my regular length cargo van. Like, that's a lot of heft in these streets, let alone, streets that are 700 years old.
Exactly. So it weighs about 6,000 pounds. It's just a massive car.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only reason they can explain why it's so popular over here is because of the culture around essentially rappers owning Escalades. And I feel like this is, aged not very well.
Nope.
In terms of that cultural stereotype. I see a Cadillac Escalade as a gaudy, like, kid carrier.
Yeah, agreed. It's a soccer mom that did not want a van, or it was just like, no, you're not going to get me a Tahoe.
It's a soccer mom who wanted essentially the same thing that they're saying the rappers want to do, which is put the money on display.
Yep.
I have a Cadillac Escalade, but I don't see it as a rapper's car anymore. Maybe it's just because it's 10 years, 15 years on, but every time I see one now, it looks like an old Expedition. It's like, that thing's pretty worn down. There's not like very many nice new Escalades out there.
Yeah, this generation I think looked good and aged okay. The generation before it had it was a little more generic styling, and it did not age well.
It was essentially just a Yukon with
it really
more
was.
chrome.
Yep. Yeah, they did talk about blinging more in the studio. Hammond stands on a box, which is funny because it's a tall car and he's a short man. And then Jeremy puts spinners on an XC90, which is blasphemy in and of itself, but did enlighten me on the fact that the spinner market in the UK is out of control.
It is so overbought.
The spinner futures, man.
You gotta get your spinner futures. I would short spinners all day, every day, if that was a possibility in the United Kingdom. The pair he had, or the set he had on the XC90 were 11,000 pounds, but like good ones were like 30,000 pounds.
That is like carbon fiber wheel money, like, and then some.
That's like putting wheels that cost an exige on your car.
Yeah, seriously, that's way
even
over,
here in the United States. That's too expensive.
Yeah. Anyway,
you need to get that. You need to get those spinner hubcaps over there. Is what you do.
You do. All the class, less the money.
You know you're in a bad neighborhood when you see a Mercury Villager minivan with 2 spinners on it.
Spinner hubcaps or spinner wheels?
You know what? They were obvious. If you only can buy 2, it was obviously the hubcaps, right?
Yeah, I assume.
Because they come in sets of 2, I think.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I saw a Mercury Villager, which is the old school minivan, in Phoenix, Arizona, with 2 spinners on it.
Yeah.
Couldn't have all 4, but we're not going to not drive it around. We got spinners on it.
Were they in the front, the back, or one of the sides?
I would have done one of the sides.
I would have too, because you could fake them out and then stealth. If the cops are looking for the spinners, you just turn around.
Just turn around. I think they're on the front.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did have when I was taking my motorcycle safety foundation class, the teacher taught me a rule that I still use today, which is like when you're wondering if somebody's going to pull out in front of you, which they almost always do, look at the wheels. And then she went on a rant about how spinners ruined that trick, and I laughed because spinners did not last, and that trick still does.
Oh, because you can see the wheels moving.
Yeah, because the first thing you'll see, it's a lot easier to see a wheel rotate than it is to see a car nudge forward just a bit.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so.
Oh my God, that car's going 5,000 miles an hour already.
He's doing a massive burnout to kill me.
He's already smoked all of his tires away.
They're gone, man.
Sorry, racist?
Mildly racist? Mildly racist. Move on?
Yeah. All done.
Ooh.
So, Jeff, the star in a reasonably priced car this week.
God, we're just getting worse, though, I feel.
Was Paul McKenna. This segment was extremely fast, so we're going to be extremely fast. He's a hypnotist, and then he does a lap. That's because they bring him on later on, which I guess we'll talk about later. But he did a lap.
He did a 148, which is actually kind of good.
Good lap. Yes, a very good lap. 148 dead, which is like JK speed, I think.
No, it is. And Jody Kidd. So that did bring me to one thing that I was thinking about, and I was like, we've seen New Stig do better in cars. Is he also a better teacher?
He might be a better teacher.
He might be.
Because JK is a legitimately good driver.
Yeah.
And if this jabroni, I mean, did you watch his lap? He went off the track.
Yeah, it was not a great lap, but he managed to put down a time.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, if you're holding momentum through the grass, you're still moving.
I guess so. He was extremely forceful in the car. You remember when Starsky was in it, David Soul, and he broke all the transmissions?
Yeah.
This is what he looked like. He was like fighting this thing into gear. I don't know if he broke any transmissions, but he was like, he was grimacing on his face, and he was jamming it from second to third.
He was so angry at transmissions.
Should we talk about? We'll just briefly touch on it right now.
You know what I hate? Move on. There's some level of like credibility to this guy. There's some celebrities that call him true, like that say he has helped them, including like Ellen DeGeneres and Elle Macpherson and like George Michael and a bunch of people. TPT is on this list, as is David Bowie. It seems like people believe in him, but I don't know. He hypnotized Hammond. That's the whole thing, but he didn't because it's bullshit. But.
Well, maybe he didn't do it through hypnotization. I saw on his list of things about him that he was also just kind of like a self-help guru.
Yeah, maybe that's more of it. But this says hypnotherapy. That's the thing that I'm looking at. Anyway,
so
I do think
he hypnotizes Hammond.
Yeah, I think hypnotherapy has a little more validity too, because I have had friends and family members that have done some level of that, and it has helped. But that like this sort of hypnosis, I don't know.
It might be a little bit more the therapy side and a little less the hypno side,
it's
Jeff.
True.
I don't think you're going out on a limb by saying therapy helps. It's when you throw hypno. It's when you throw hypno in front of everything, anything. It just is like
except for Hypnotoad. All hail Hypnotoad.
All glory to the Hypnotoad.
Well, obviously,
yeah.
Jeff. Obviously. Wow. We're just beating around the bush. He hypnotizes Hammond, but he doesn't because hypnotization is not real. He gets inside of a car and he hypnotizes him to say or to think that to not be able to drive a car.
You know what pisses me off the most? That was a 350 horsepower Alfa that they did nothing with in this episode.
Yeah, so I think we got we
got cut.
I think we got cut because they said when he got in there that Clarkson was scared to drive it around. When?
Yeah.
When did this ever come up in this
don't know.
episode?
There's
so
no,
I
and
think
it's
maybe
not,
it got cut.
It's not on the list. Like looking in the upcoming episodes for Series 4, it's not. There's no like Alpha in any of these.
Yeah, so I think we got cut on this one, which is another reason the editing was bad.
I don't know. Anyway.
But anyway, Hammond didn't know how to drive it. It's really funny. He pushes all the buttons. He doesn't know how to turn on a car.
It's not really funny.
It's really not. And then they bring him back in the studio, and they hypnotize him to think like a little toy Porsche is his real Porsche. I mean, I guess good on Hammond. He didn't crack, like he didn't break while he was doing this bit.
Maybe it's just maybe it's just his demo reel. Like, I can act really well.
Put me in your TV show. I'm done with this car crap.
I'm out.
Let's...
Six seasons in a movie.
Let's...
It's just, but it's like a parade of garbage, because now we're going on to the Ford FAB-1.
Let's talk about the Ford FAB-1, Jeff.
The only interesting thing I have about this is I've driven a vehicle exactly as long as it, and it was a school bus, or a shuttle bus that did not have 6 wheels. It had 24s, which were giant for the day.
All right, so the FAB-1 is a car from the old British
Thunderbirds
marionette
shows.
The Thunderbirds.
I forgot about the marionette part.
And this was the car of Lady Penelope Creighton Ward, which is an extremely British name.
So British.
Who was driven by her butler Parker. It's just essentially rich person car.
Mm-hmm.
But since it's a Thunderbird, it's got like machine guns and shit in it or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Laser guns, harpoon launchers, smokescreen canister, tire slashers.
Oil slick dispenser, obviously. Hydrofoils or outriggers for travel on water and snow, respectively.
Tire slashers are just like knives.
Extendable tire studs for increased traction. Oh, that's what those are for. And so it's like this gigantic, what did we say,
27
feet long? No, it says 21. Oh, wait. The Thunderbirds were... Yeah, 27 feet long is the new Thunderbirds version for the new Thunderbirds movie, which came out in 2004. Live action film. So they made a real working one of these, and it's just a gigantic Ford Thunderbird.
Pretty much.
Like, it's like an all new car, except for, you know what? Let's just use the headlights from the Thunderbird.
Yep. Well, it's the Thunderbirds. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Propulsion, gas turbine jet engine, comma, hover engines, colon, 7.4 liter V8.
Oh, it's powered by nuclear fusion. That's convenient.
Oh.
Yes. Why does it need 7.4 liter V8?
Why does it need a jet engine if it's powered by nuclear fusion?
None of
is
this
that just to run
sense.
Is it just to run the electronics?
Yeah, that's for the radio, Jeremy.
Okay. It's big, it's pink, it's got 2 sets of front wheels.
It's got 2 seats. It's stupid as hell. It's hard to drive in a small city, and it has a dumb canopy, and it takes forever to get in and out of. Next car.
Well, Jeff, the next car is the SLR McLaren.
It definitely, this, like, looking at the list of episodes for this series, this is the one that they were like, I don't know where to put that. Put it in episode 2. It's garbage.
Yeah, this was take out the trash day for sure.
It was.
I really appreciate whoever is still listening to this. Thank you so much. You're a real trooper. I hope you didn't watch this episode.
Yeah. It
wasn't very good. Go back and watch episode 1 again, or go watch Saving Silverman. It's a good movie.
Put them both on at the same time, one eye on each.
All right, Jeff.
SLR
so this
McLaren.
Is the power lap. Yes.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they already done the comparison. It's a fancy SL55 carbon body. I mean, it's fast. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
Yeah, he made a lot of F1, McLaren F1 comparisons, kind of saying not so nice things, not terrible things, but basically saying it was a harder to drive car and it was expensive. And yeah, that's still like one of my favorite. I love the F1. So.
Yeah, this thing goes 209 miles an hour where the F1 goes 250.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between those types of cars.
And unlike the FAB-1, the center seat in the F1 is rad.
Yeah, unlike the FAB-1 for sure. Everything else between those two cars is about the same, though.
Yeah, same time. They did light the brakes on fire, it appeared.
Yeah, the carbon brakes, carbon ceramic brake.
Yeah.
Carbon ceramic brakes.
I didn't realize you could light those on fire.
Got a little hot.
Yeah. Hammond was not a fan of those.
They said, I mean, Clarkson said that they don't really have any feel.
Yeah, that was the thing. These were fly-by-wire or brake-by-wire.
Yeah, so you just kind of depressed it, and there was no real connection between your feedback on your foot and what actually was going on in the car.
Yep.
Which makes sense if there's no, like, you're not physically moving a fluid or anything like that. It's just a spring holding the pedal back. Then, yeah, you're just going to push on it way too hard all the time.
Yeah, you're not, if you're not getting, I mean, you'd have to have a separate set of, like, feedback circuitry to, like, artificially judder the pedal and stuff, and that just gets complicated.
Yeah, just make it regular brakes.
Yeah. Stupid McLaren. That's about it. We talked about this car already like 4 episodes ago.
We did, but this is the Power Lap today,
Yes,
Jeff.
it is. And it is an expensive car, but it is a fast car, man.
It did a dry lap, but it did a 1:20.9.
Which is so fast.
It is the fastest time by 3 seconds. On just straight time. Now, if you start taking into wet laps and not wet laps, it is... no, it's the fastest time there, too.
Yeah, I know it's the fastest one. It's not quite... I don't think it's quite as fastest, but it's fast. What? I don't think it's like... I think there's one that's closer than 3 seconds, isn't there? Isn't the...
Yeah, it's like 0.3 seconds.
Yeah, but it is the fastest, like, hands down, with all modifiers in there, which...
Yeah,
that's
it
impressive.
is the fastest lap,
It's
which is very good.
Car.
It's faster than the Koenigsegg, faster than the Zonda, faster than the GT3. All of those are really good. But it costs 300. Now, this is interesting. They said 312,000 pounds in this episode. Wasn't it 313 a couple episodes ago?
the dealers are having trouble moving them, Brady.
I'm calling it 312,500.
I gotta look it up real quick. They did say 313. 312.5.
They did.
Fair enough.
312.5 is what we're going to cost it. You can't be sure. You have
This
to
one
this
one probably had one more option. Like it had like the carbon fiber ashtray.
Okay. Ashtrays in cars, dude.
Early 2000s, they probably still existed.
Probably still did. All right. So, what's your desirability score for this car, Jeff?
Ooh, we didn't give it
to,
last time. Okay.
We need to pad some time here, so you're gonna have to give me the score and a reason.
Let's see. I would give this one a 4.
Ooh, that's low.
It's fast. I mean, I will give you that, but it's not. I do not love the looks of it. I do not love the transmission because it's automatic only. It's a lot of money, and gull wing doors are cool, but not that cool.
Yeah, I bet it's hard for us to get an idea of how good of a handling car it is. I bet it's an extremely well-handling car, but I don't think it has any extra special fantastic downforce like the Exige might have. It's got crappy brakes. I do dislike the automatic version of it, but maybe a little less than you. I like this more than a 4.
Okay.
It's not a particularly good-looking car.
No, it looks like a fancy SL55.
Bulbous nose on it. But it's obviously balls fast.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the 6. I like this more than that one.
All right.
Still just a middle-of-the-road score from us. Wow.
Did it not do well?
No.
It's a little expensive.
So, Jeff, this was the 50th car in our Top Gear Rearview Power Ranking.
Wow.
This is number 50.
I feel like I need champagne.
I feel like I need a shot of something, too. And it came in 38th.
Wow.
So it got, just to run you through the modifiers here, it got a really good time factor, but a really, really bad price factor.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Zonda, same thing with the Koenigsegg. The Koenigsegg is 40th, so this is better than a Koenigsegg.
Oh, that depresses me a little bit.
The Zonda is a 30, so it's worse than that.
Okay.
It's like 3 seconds faster, 4 seconds faster than a Koenigsegg.
I know, but that's Koenigsegg with Old Stig, and Old Stig was garbage Stig.
Old Stig and not the Top Gear wing.
Yeah. Wait.
So it's 38th.
Yeah.
And our rankings were middle of the road.
Yeah.
It's 38th. It's just behind the Volvo S60R.
Company.
Ooh,
right,
and just ahead of the Aston Martin DB7 GT.
Okay. It feels like it sort of fits there, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's where it fits. It's just too expensive for an SL, essentially, you know? It's essentially the same car as the SL55, except for, I mean, it certainly is faster, but
yeah,
I don't really get the...
I feel like this car was $100,000 too expensive.
I feel this car was, maybe even like a little bit more than that. But yeah.
I mean, taking an SL55 and doing like the full carbon treatment on it and, fancying it up a little bit. I could see that being in the low 2s. But the 3s, like you're breaking into hollow ground.
All right, so let's take our 3 most expensive cars on here, Jeff.
Yeah.
The Zonda C12 7.3 liter, the McLaren SLR, or the Koenigsegg CC85. Which one of those would you rather have?
Wait, we didn't get a lap time in our awesome smart V6 twin turbo or bi-turbo Brabus because that was 330,000.
It was. Nope, that's not on our list.
No, so which one of those 3?
Yeah.
Zonda.
You'd have the Zonda.
All day long.
Ooh, I'd have the Koenigsegg.
Okay.
I think we'd both say we wouldn't have the McLaren.
Yeah, I mean that's a 3 for the 2 of us, but the other ones I think it's fine. I think a Zonda and a Koenigsegg really, like, in my mind, those are like direct competitors.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So price, rarity, all that fun.
The average score on the Koenigsegg for both of us was a 10 and a 10, or the desirability score. On the Zonda, it was a 10 and a 10. And on the SLR, it was a 4 and a 6. So I think we can see where it lies.
Woof.
Woof, indeed. And Jeff, woof to this episode.
Dog.
This episode was a dog. It was a bad episode. Once again, I appreciate you guys suffering through with us.
Whoever's still out there, all one of you.
Hi, Mom. I don't even think my mom listens. I don't even think I'm going to listen to this one.
Yeah, this is going to be going to nobody at this point. But Anyway, if anybody's still out there, please, go listen to a different episode and then tell your friends about the show because they're not all terrible like this, I promise. Again, let's do a different episode and then go maybe give us a rating or a review on iTunes or a subscription on your podcatcher of choice. That definitely helps us out on that side of things, helps us kind of keep up in the search results and everything.
Yes, go ahead and check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/Top Gear Rearview, to see some updates. We'll post the full top 50 lists of the Top Gear Rearview power rankings. And also check out the episodes on YouTube. We put those up there every week when the episode releases, if that's your preferred method of consumption.
And please come back next week. I swear it'll get better.
Next week is very good, Jeff. I wanted to go through it.
A 68 Dodge Charger.
Yep, 100-pound car challenge.
So good. Porsche 911 GT3 RS.
It's going to be a good episode. Way better than this one. No hypnotism, I swear.
So much better. We will see you guys next week. Series 4, Episode 3.